Hello and welcome back to another episode of United We Stand, Divided We Podcast. I am Robert from just outside Nashville in the US of A, and my
And
co-host
in Canada, just way outside the US of A, an hour and a half, 2 hours, well, 3 hours, including the border, Toronto. I am Lionel. Welcome back. What do we got on the agenda today, Robert?
Well, we don't actually have much, so this is going to be a little bit of a short one. We have some things to do. I've got to prepare. I'm going out of town, so we'll probably just be a little lighthearted, kind of a short one. And then when I get back from my trip, then we'll get back into it. But one thing that if you guys out there in YouTube land want to put in the comments, we were talking about doing a U.S. Canada candy test. Why don't you tell us what kind of candies you want us to try?
Candy. We got to think about some chips and stuff too.
I guess we can do chips because you have that ketchup chips.
But there's also going to be. I would like to find out if some of the American branded snacks, including some potato chips, taste different, even though they're the same brand name and same flavor.
Yeah,
because and then one thing we can't do obviously is ship beer to each other. For instance, if you drank a Canadian beer, it's probably now made in the U.S. and not an import, unless it's labeled as an import, in which case it's probably closer to the border, anyways. And the same used to be here 30 years ago. If I drank Budweiser at the bar, it was imported. It cost more money, and it was good. It's been made in Canada for a long time by Labatt. I think it's Labatt. Maybe it's Molson. I can't remember. But it tastes like Canadian beer. It doesn't taste like Budweiser at all. Well, just a word of warning if you come here, don't order a Bud because it looks.
I don't drink Budweiser, period. Budweiser's like drinking foam.
I didn't think so. When I had Budweiser originally, the first time I ever tried it was actually in Chicago, and I liked it. So, I like it. Although I will say this, back in those days, it was weaker than our beer. A lot of people still make that joke, but that's not actually true anymore. Your alcohol percentage seems to have risen somewhat.
Yeah.
In your beer.
Well, one thing that Blake and I failed to do, and we talked about it, but we just had so much going on, and there's so little time when you're traveling. There's so much to see, like in Europe. Is in Brussels, there's like a bar that's got like 1,000+ beers. And we talked about going there, and we just got sidetracked, and we just completely forgot all about it. And we like, dang it, should have gone there. That would have been kind of fun.
Well,
but
I don't think you had time to taste them all.
Well, no. Speaking of that, though, there's a beer that's made from it's called New Glarus. It's a like a small brewery or brewer, I guess if you call that. I don't know. It's in just outside of Madison, Wisconsin, and my wife loves their Spotted Cow, and they have a beer called Red Belgium. And when I was in Belgium, we happened to go to a restaurant. And I looked at the menu and my eyes about popped out of my head because I was like, that's the beer. So I ordered it, and I kid you not, it tasted exactly like the other beer that's actually brewed in Wisconsin. So somebody probably traveled and said, oh my gosh, this is really good. We got to figure out how to make it in our brewery. And that's why they named it Red Belgium. This wasn't named Red Belgium; it had a different name, but it's exactly the same. I just started like, and my son's like, "Dad, you really like that beer?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, you have no idea."
I gotta admit, I'm not as much of a beer person as I used to be, but I grew up with a lot of very bland kinds of beers, so it took a while for me to get a taste for something better. And oddly enough, the American version of Budweiser was the first time I tasted something different, which is probably why I liked it. But now, of course, you can't go 6 blocks without finding a craft beer place somewhere. There's microbrewery everywhere, right? And it's a huge business now. So There are some bars that just make it, and the whole back of their building is a brewery, and
Yeah.
the business is that. But they might as well get a nightclub license or whatever it is. Not a nightclub. That would be like 200 people. That's not what they're looking for. I mean, you know what I mean? A bar license, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not a beer drinker at all, really. There's only literally I could count as many that I like on one hand, and that's leaving some fingers open. I'm a cider guy. I'm a cider guy.
I can count on these 3 fingers, and 2 of them I don't remember the name of. So it's not a thing for me. I'd actually honestly rather drink some flavored vodka of some sort, or gin or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but we have obviously
gin smash here. I kind of like that, but it's not the best.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I like a good hard cider, and they're starting to get more. Not very many, but they're starting to kind of pop up some of the craft cider breweries. There's one in Nashville called Diskin Cider, and there's a new restaurant here in town. It's a burger place. It's burger and beer is exactly what their their saying says. And it was delicious. We went and had lunch there last weekend.
I've never had a cider in my life, and I'm curious.
Oh, so good.
Is cider originally a non-alcoholic beverage? Is it still a non-alcoholic beverage, or is it considered an alcoholic beverage? I haven't got a clue what cider is.
Well, no, it's 100%. You can get non-alcoholic cider.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I started drinking it. I love cider. Like hot cider is like Christmas cider. That's a big Christmas drink.
So I was just to me in my mind, I was thinking that must be something that wasn't originally, because all I ever remember seeing is every old movie that took place in the 1800s or something. Even on Little House on the Prairie, you want some cider. And they were offering like Laura Ingalls cider. I'm not going to offer her, not trying to get her drunk, right? So.
Right. Well, I mean, you have apples. You can make cider, right? So, I mean, it's,
if it's apple cider.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, apparently you can make more than apple cider now.
I'm sure.
Make cider out of anything, man. I could probably make a chocolate cider if I wanted to. Maybe dandelion wine, for crying out loud.
There's one that the Diskin Cider here in Nashville makes. It's called a Tiki Tonic, and it's apple, pineapple. It's got a couple other things like a 6.5%, alcohol.
How did we get into this conversation?
So
this is nowhere where we thought we were going to go with this.
We talked about we went from candy to beer. Candy to beer.
There's another way. We did say we were going to be lighthearted about it, but what the hell? Since it's not going to be an hour-long program, we should mix the joviality in with the one thing that you brought up earlier that you wanted to talk about.
Well, actually, you shared it with me, and it's about the Google Gemini being able to remember things. And I actually put a few things in my Gemini app. I haven't really played around with it, but
so
I think it's really cool.
It works for you. Because see, America only, right?
But you don't have it?
Where's that meme? America.
America. You don't. I mean, you can't do it.
Yesterday, let me see. Is it supposed to be in the settings? Should I be able to look in the settings to find out instead of asking? Where would I find it?
Oops. Oh, if I could open my app and not quit closing it. That's a good question. So it's going to be in settings, and then I don't see it in here. It automatically popped up for me for the first time that I did it.
Oh, well, so that's why I'm not going to have it, because I don't get anything. I don't get any of the good stuff.
Extensions?
No, that's not it.
Oh, I can turn on my public preview in my Google Home. Nice. Let's do that.
Wait a minute. What? Where did you find that one? Okay, you just need to tell.
That's it's in extensions. That's in extensions. That's in extensions, and then you can have like Google Flights, Google Home.
You didn't turn that on yet? Mine was just automatically on. I didn't even have to turn it on.
Well, not I didn't have the Google Home turned on for some reason, but all my other stuff was turned on, so I'm not sure why
Oh
that wasn't
wow,
turned
no,
on.
it makes a huge difference as long as your old home is either turned off or doesn't listen to you. I know there's a way to change it so that only certain ones can hear you when you're in the same room or when they can audibly hear each other. But I can't find any of those settings now because I'm honestly I'm sick of this old thing. And unless
Okay, so
it's
it's a
updated to
saved
Gemini,
info
I don't want it
page.
anymore. What?
It's under saved info.
Oh, what in settings? And then there's something called save info. Yeah, I don't have it.
No, I went under updates. So I clicked on my picture in the Google Gemini, and then I went to updates, and it says info you asked Gemini to save, and there was a link. I wonder if I can save this link.
Oh,
I should do that.
wait a minute. What? Saved info page. Oh.
Yeah, I can bookmark
Info you
it.
asked Gemini, blah, blah, blah. Share info about your. Okay, so add.
Nice. Okay, I just added.
What do you want Gemini to remember?
So you do have it. So see, I think
Hang
you're
on
talking
one
bad
sec-
about
Hang
Canada.
on 1 second. No, wait, I don't have to. Oh my God, my mouse doesn't work.
Anyways, for those of you who use Google Gemini Advanced, you have the ability now of telling Gemini to remember certain things. So, for example, I told it that I prefer detailed and precise responses. And I also told it my favorite sports team, even though that might change at the end of the year because they suck really bad. And I told it my favorite color. And there's some other thing I was going to add, but this way, when you ask Gemini questions, it'll look at what info it has that you have saved, and it'll kind of develop its response based on those saved things if it's relevant.
Yeah, the save thing doesn't work. I just tried it. I saved it and it didn't do anything. It didn't save it. I mean, it says it did, but it didn't remember what I just literally asked it the question that I saved. And it says, I don't have any information. And you can kiss my ass. I didn't say
that. Hey, what's my favorite color?
Yeah, now you got me. What did I do wrong then?
I can access information about people and their preferences. What's your name again?
My name is Robert. What's my favorite color?
Okay, Robert, let's find your favorite color.
I already told you what my favorite color was. Why can't you remember it?
See, it doesn't know shit.
So I can't actually remember things the way a person does. I can access and process information, but that's different. I apologize if that caused any confusion. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
What's my daughter's name?
No, you've irritated me. I'm done.
I understand. I'm still under development. And sometimes I make mistakes.
That's dumb.
Your daughter's name. This is to protect your privacy and safety.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. Are you serious? That's why it won't do it. And it's claiming it can't remember. Yeah.
It can't remember my favorite color? That has nothing to do with safety.
All right. So we were going to talk about this, but it apparently, even though it's rolling out, it's either not rolled out, but you said that you already had the notification that it's supposed to be working. So there's no reason. The only reason I think they have is when you ask it, it should say, I cannot remember because the devs made a mistake and they screwed up.
It should say, you do know this is Google, right?
You would swear they were working for Treyarch or something.
Oh, well, look, it's the same thing as this, right? So this is the Moto tag, the Bluetooth tracker. It's supposed to have ultra wideband. Now, the device does have ultra wideband, but guess who hasn't turned it on yet? Google. So basically, it's just another Bluetooth tracker.
Wait a minute.
So same kind of thing. It's like, here, this is available, but no, it's not really. I mentioned
that before, but I don't think it really registered in my brain. So what you're saying is that the ultra wideband in the Find My Device network is not actually active.
Correct.
Is that what you mean? So it doesn't matter if I have one that's ultra wideband. I'm basically just using regular Bluetooth. So there's no difference between what we already had and this.
Exactly.
Except the biggest difference is that we don't have to have individual ones we have, I mean, like specific ones from one company. You could theoretically have 3 from this company and 3 from that company if you so chose. But why, when each of the individual companies already has a large amount of product on the market, and you would have a better chance of finding your stuff?
I don't know. Supposedly it was supposed to be ready by the end of the year, but here we are getting close to the end of the year, and I've heard nothing about it being actually turned on. So,
well, have you heard the news? They're probably too busy shifting everybody around because Android 16 is out in about 15 seconds. It reminds me of Dr. McCoy when he was, what was he? I can't remember which movie it was. Was it a movie or one of the TV shows?
You're a bigger Star Trekkie than I am.
It was Genesis, the Genesis device. Right. So it was Khan, Wrath of Khan. Dr. McCoy says, when they talked about the Genesis device, which creates life, blah, 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 however many days or hours or whatever. And so he's saying, oh, well, God created the earth in 7 days, but watch out. Man can now do it. Here comes Genesis. Man can do it in 7 minutes. I'm thinking, well, this is the same kind of thing now. I feel like Google is just like, okay, well, I like the idea that they'd put the Pixel 9 series out early because they're like, let's beat Apple to the punch and get some of their business. And the sales numbers are telling us it's true. It worked. It is the only good marketing I've ever seen them actually do. And I mean, I literally, but now they're like, oh, well, Android 16 is going to be out in June. What the? You were late with Android 15 on an early release phone, and now you want to give less than 8 months for a whole, like they got a completely different dev team doing the next version of Android. They have to, because they're still working on Android 15.
Oh yeah, sure there's still bugs got to be squashed.
They have 1 or 2 more updates for that. Normally it would have been 3 more before they would have the beta out, and then a final one before the new release. But it looks like they're only going to have the December and a March. But here's the interesting thing: the public beta, not release candidate shit, final beta with the what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Stable version?
Yeah, not stable. No, I mean, technically it is stable, but the word the phrase they use for when everything should be working and you can pretty much put whatever your apps on and all the
release candidate.
No,
I don't know what words you're talking about. Then I'm just throwing words out there. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because you didn't let me finish. When you get down to the last, or either second last or last beta, depending on the year, and now they tell the devs, basically the app devs, that is, this is what you can work on. This is going to be the most stable it's going to be before the final release. So we're not making any more major changes. Only small bug fixes are going to happen, right? So at that point, and that's what they're saying is that Android 16 is going to be in April. April.
Wow.
So we might be looking at one last May beta, and then June it will be the Android 16. So it's coming out on the same crop of phones. And now you can imagine that Samsung, unless they're in on this, which is possible, they're probably thinking, these sons of bitches, we're still working on everything with 15, and you're going to throw 16 at us. So we have to put the new one on the new phone, but they're not going to have enough time. It takes them another 3 months just to start doing their betas for their One UI shit. And since it's a major release, they're going to have to do whatever you call it, a lot of extra testing. It was a lot easier when they did incremental releases, and you would see, in a space of 3 years, you might see 3 incremental releases or 4. And a major update every 2 years or something like that, right? So, like, what was it? 4. There was 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and 4.4. And that all happened in what, a year and a half or something like that?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the time frame was. But yeah, I know.
Well, let me put it this way: 4 and 4.4 were not even the same operating system. If I remember, no, wait, they were, because they were both KitKat. So maybe I'm thinking of a 3 point something. But at least one of them was like that. They would have like two major updates within one.
Well, it almost tells me that 16 is just 15 refreshed.
So basically you're saying it's Modern Warfare 3 to Modern Warfare 2.
You mean the other way around?
No, Modern Warfare 3 to Modern Warfare 2, as in a refresh of Modern Warfare 2. It's basically the exact same game with a couple of different maps.
Okay.
Which it was. It absolutely was. It played.
If that's the analogy you want to use, sure,
had
yeah.
the same freaking characters in it. Yeah. But but at least they played mostly well. But maybe we should get into it. Black Ops 6 has got serious problems.
I don't think they're serious. I think they're just normal problems, and they just got to work through it. I mean,
they're serious. Half the time you can't get on, and you have to restart just to open the thing the first time. Sometimes you can't get on for hours. Sometimes it takes several minutes. I'm not talking about several minutes, like turn it on, go to the bathroom, maybe make a sandwich. I mean, like in and out, turn on, restart everything in your house, and hope that it reconnects.
But that didn't start until this last update. And so that leads me to believe that there's some type of service. I've never had that issue until this update.
Well, yeah, but everybody's having it. I said they needed to fix it. I never said that it came out of the gate like that, but they have had other problems. It's always taken a little bit longer to log in than it's ever taken before. It's a little bit weird, and sometimes the gameplay gets a little bit funky. And I'm not the only one that says it. There's tons of YouTubers talking about it. I'm not even talking about the cheating issue. I'm just talking about, or not even the problem with the bullet, the damage nerfing. Just sometimes the gameplay gets a little funky, and it doesn't always happen to everybody, and it doesn't happen every match either. I had it happen to me one match that I played today, and the last two I didn't have the issue at all. I didn't have any issues at all the last two matches. But
you're talking such a monumental jump between 3 and Black Ops 6 as far as graphics, movements, all those things. The amount of
it's monumental in graphics.
It is. It's huge difference. And the amount of resources I'm sure that's going on in the back end, maybe they didn't prepare for the level of which they're getting used. And so they're having to adjust maybe even hardware resources. You have no idea. It takes a lot of.
It doesn't matter. You're just basically
shit.
What you're doing. What you're doing is you're defending them, and it doesn't make any sense to me. This is something that's happening, and people are actually experiencing it. It's not like it's an imaginary thing. I'm not saying these people are ass.
I'm not saying it's imaginary. I never said it's imaginary
or something like that. I'm simply saying they need to get their shit together, because honestly, of course, there's going to be bugs in everything new. Modern Warfare 2 had bugs. Modern Warfare 3 had bugs. I'm sure every Modern Warfare did. Have you ever heard what they talked about with Ghost Recon Breakpoint when it came out? You remember too. That had bugs. Even at the end, it still had bugs. And people talk about it all the time. Right?
I guess being in the IT world and understanding, on a daily basis what I deal with, I understand a little bit more of like, hey, there's a lot more going on in the back end that people even.
Of course there are, but I'm talking about code writing. I'm not talking about whether the servers are working or not, because
it goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand.
It does if the server is the issue. But I'm telling you right now, the problem I had the other day trying to get on wasn't actually a straight server issue. That made no sense. If it was, I shouldn't have been able to get on at all. There's other things going on in some code in the game that is not authenticating properly. It's not the server. It's a code that gets before the server, before it even connects to it. I guarantee you that's an issue. But they'll fix it. In fact, the reason why we didn't see, you usually see almost sometimes 2-3 days in a row when you go to get on COD, and it says game requires restart. or update requires restart. Well, it hasn't done that in 3 days. So that tells you something. They're working on it. Otherwise, they probably would have had a tiny little bug squashing update by now. So I expect the next day or two, they probably will update and fix the problem.
Guess we'll find out.
That's all I'm saying. And maybe this is our point counterpoint for this week. We need to get a graphic and do that every week.
Yeah.
Point count.
I just think people are far more critical than they even understand what's going on. So that's my point or counterpoint or whatever you want to call it. So
Fair enough.
But
in all honesty, I don't need to understand how a jet engine works to know that if it's flapping under the wing, something is wrong.
Oh, I got it.
And of course, if that is the case, there's nothing I can do about it but put my head between my legs and at least with COD, you can just get mad and turn it off.
Yeah,
rage
quit.
I've never done that.
Right. You mean you haven't done that in the last couple of hours?
Yeah, I haven't done that in weeks. Anyway, having said that, where are we at? Do we have anything important we wanted to bring up, or are we good on that front?
No, I think we're good. I mean, obviously, there's still some stuff that's starting to fly around like crazy with the whole Trump thing, but I'm not getting into politics at all.
Yeah.
So,
today. There's way too much worldwide. Never mind.
Yeah, and of course, my hockey team still is complete garbage. Yours is still number one. They won again, 6-3.
What would you say again? They lost 2 in a row, and
oh my God, they lost 2 in a row.
4 goals. They legitimately got past the goaltender. 2 of them were empty netters, albeit shorthanded empty netters, but empty netters. Both of them by Morgan Barron, which means he has 2 shorthanded goals, and I'm pretty sure that means he's on top of the league in shorthanded goals, or maybe not.
Hey,
I don't.
Dude, your team has lost 3 games.
Yes,
we barely just won our third game, but a few games ago. Okay, so I don't even want to hear it, man.
They had a 3-game win streak. You're saying they barely won their third game? They're like they have like 6.
We're 6-9-3,
right? That's only 3 games below 500. They could come back.
Oh my God,
win the whole thing.
Okay,
there's so much time left.
Look, we are going to pick last or first in the draft, so that's okay.
But you don't want that. That's a death knell to some teams. It only works for like teams like New York or Detroit.
No, I'm just saying that's what's going to happen because we're going to be dead last. We're third last in the entire league. Third last in the entire league. Third
last. You were dead
us, Blackhawks, and San Jose.
Yeah,
and we're all like 2 points apart, so we might as well just be dead tied for dead last.
Dead last, which means you're already moving up.
That's improvement. Okay.
Well, we're moving on up.
Yeah, that's like going from F- to an F. Okay, yeah, that's improvement, I guess.
F- to a B+? No.
Fail. Fail.
No, they got too much time left. Listen, you're only gone through the first 5 questions of the test in math class. All you got to do is do a little better than 500. The rest
Look,
of the test.
If this was a rebuilding team, I would get it. I'd have no problem with it. When you spend $90 million on Stamkos, Marchessault, Shea, you have Forsberg, you have all the Roman Yossi.
I agree.
Nyquist.
Listen, those guys will all come together.
There's no excuse for any of this.
Come together. They'll get it done. Maybe what's his name? Barry something. Your general manager?
Barry Trotz.
Trotz, yes. Maybe Trotz will trade one of those guys for somebody that would be stupid. But fits better. And maybe they'll fire the coach and get a coach that will get them to gel together. As somebody who's witnessed a team that sucked get a new coach that brought them together, and they've been a good team since, even though they're 3 coaches later. all those coaches have basically taken something that the previous coach did and improved upon it a little bit more, right? Like
I don't care what they do. They
Stanley
just
Cup
need to
winning
improve.
coach, what's his name? He did great, but he felt he couldn't take him any further. So,
Well, we got
next
20
coach-
minutes to
Well,
start of the next game, and we'll see how bad they are tonight.
what, tonight? You mean tomorrow, right? Is it
No,
tonight?
they're playing tonight, 9:00. Playing
Oh.
Seattle.
For some reason, I was thinking it was tomorrow.
No, it's different.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, guess I'll be playing COD by myself then. Because I can't watch the game. I would like to watch it because I'm pretty sure they're going to kick their ass.
Okay.
Go Preds. I want to see the Preds do well. And obviously, go Jets, go.
Well, I want to see them do well too because I feel like I'm wasting a lot of money every month for my season tickets.
They'll pick it up. They'll pick it up. It starts tonight. Oh, like, subscribe, and if you like the Preds and you want them to do well, subscribe and like.
Oh my gosh!
If
You
you
just like
prefer the
you just
Jets-
you chased off every single viewer we had, and it might have just only been 2, but you just chased them off because nobody is
I
a
didn't
Preds fan.
finish. I said if you prefer the Jets, then like and subscribe at the same time. Fingers, right? If you don't like either one of those teams, then just choose whether you want to like and subscribe or subscribe and like.
Yeah.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
the funniest shit ever. It's like dad jokes.
Yeah, it was.
So let's move on and say that this is probably about getting to the stale end of the conversation this week. So,
yeah. Well, I don't really
not
have anything
our
else.
best podcast ever,
No.
but we will say this. You know how much I love my Winnipeg Jets. Somebody over there is not happy with his Preds, but I still think they're going to do better. Whatever team you like, drop a little blurb in the comments. Tell us who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup. If you think the Preds are going to do better the rest of the season, and if you think the Jets are not for real and are just lucky in the first half.
Okay.
Hey, I don't think that's the case. I'm saying if somebody else thinks it, they're allowed to say their opinions if that's what they want.
Sure. Yeah.
So there it is.
You don't
for
go
the
this
record,
deep in
I
an
believe
NHL
they
season and
go
only
all the way.
lose 3 games and be lucky. That's not a thing.
All right. Well, with that said, unless there's something else.
There is not.
Okay.
And look,
I have
I
a
hope
little
everybody.
bit going on behind me in case anybody notices.
So
things.
I'm going to be out of town. We're not having a podcast next week. And so I want to wish everyone a very happy American Thanksgiving and hope everybody has an enjoyable time with your families, eats lots of food, and just enjoys yourself because you got a few days off. It's going to be a long weekend next weekend. So
yeah, and I can't. I wish I could have some of that turkey, but we already did our Thanksgiving at the proper time, and so we're already ready to sing Christmas carols here. But out of respect, I'll wait until Friday.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay. That said, I am looking forward to Black Friday so I can see all the things I can't afford to buy. But window shop online.
Yeah, that's I don't ever go outside in the stores.
So
insane. So, all right. Well, I'm Robert from the US of A, just outside Nashville, signing off for the week, 2 weeks. See you after Thanksgiving.
And I am Lionel in Toronto, and once again to steal from a legendary wrestling announcer. No, I'm not even going to do it this time. Hope you have a great week, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving in America.
Peace out.